Good morning, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with Dutyron and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. Hey, if you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get all things Dutyron and Ed Wallace when we go live or upload another video. Hey, this morning, Stephan Stearns is going to make his first appearance in court. It's a pre-trial hearing. It's a pre-trial hearing. They're looking to get this trial going in May. I don't know how that's possible, but May 13th is supposed to be the day that this trial kicks off. And he waived his first court appearance for his arraignment. How many of you in the chat remember last month, or maybe a little bit more than a month ago, he waived his right to show up in court? That pissed all of us off because A, he's not charged yet with the murder of Madeline Soto, which we're all waiting for. But B, how dare he waive his right to go before a court at his arraignment? It's just, we see it in too many of these cases. Let me know what you think in the comment section about that. Let me know what you think in the live chat. But thank you for being here. I have my sling off for the first time today. Today, I got the approval from the doctor to take the sling off. I'm just babying this thing, my shoulder. I'm still nursing it back to health. But let's take a listen to some of the local coverage. And JB, our good friend from WFLA Now, is going to cover this court hearing live. So we'll see. Just a disclaimer here, Stephan Stearns is not the only one that's going to appear in court. So it may or may not be him first, but I believe that the court will get the first largest case off the table. 62 charges of various counts, 60 new charges, but there was 2 before that he was initially charged with. 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery with a child 12 to 18, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, and 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child. Death penalty is on the table for the 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under the age of 12 in the state of Florida. But we will see how this goes. Let's take a listen to local coverage as we wait for the court hearing.
Suspect in the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto is set to be in court today.
Stephan Stearns is facing 60 criminal charges. Watch 2's Bob Hazen is live at the Osceola County Courthouse this morning. Bob, investigators still have not charged Stearns with murder.
That's right. All the charges right now are focused on the sexual abuse that investigators say Stearns committed against Maddie, and he's scheduled to be in the courthouse here in Osceola County for a hearing ahead of his trial. Now, it's been almost 2 months since Madeline vanished. She did not show up at school at Hunters Creek Middle, and authorities believe the 13-year-old had been killed early in the morning in late February, just a few days after her birthday. Stearns was the boyfriend of Madeline's mom and lived together with them. In the very early stages, detectives got Stearns' cell phone. They say he had tried to wipe the memory on it, but still they found pictures and videos of Stearns allegedly sexually abusing Maddie going back for years. Prosecutors have been building their case ever since, and they have not filed murder charges against Stearns, but he is being held in jail with no bond. This morning, Stearns is supposed to be in court for this pre-trial hearing. In the past, he's refused to show up. The last time he was supposed to go in front of a judge and at his first appearances. At this point, his trial is scheduled to start next month, but it's very possible that that trial could be delayed. Reporting live at the Osceola County Courthouse, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.
So there you have it, folks. I always like to report on the local coverage on this case. But, you know, if you're like me, you're mad as hell about the fact that Stephan Stearns is not yet charged with capital murder, with murder of Madeline Soto. Hey, joining us live unscheduled is Ed Wallace. I see he's taking a gulp of water before he comes on live in the air. Everybody is chomping at the bit. We're all waiting for Ed Wallace. I'm going to add him in as soon as he gives me the thumbs up. I don't want to add him in until he's ready. All right, he's ready. He's ready. Ed, how's it going? What time is it there where you are? And when the hell are you coming home?
Okay. Well, it's 12 hours different from where you are. So it's 9:07 p.m. here.
Right. Of course, I knew that, but I got to do it for the listening audience, Ed. You know, a lot of this stuff, some people, they pay attention. Sometimes they don't pay attention. Ed, what's your thoughts? I know you're far away, but I know you keep a close eye on these things. We've been covering this case for 2 months. Stephan Stearns, 37 years old, date of incident happened anywhere from, it goes back to years. So we're looking at a large time frame, but, what's your thoughts on him not being yet charged with that capital murder, Ed?
I don't understand this. I don't understand this. They have him dead to rights. They got all their dots. They dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. They got the evidence. They recovered the victim. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they got him on ice. We know that he's not going anywhere. The charges that he has levied against him, which in my count is 62 charges, the 60 new charges that were added on to the pile, he's not going to go anywhere. But look, we're always talking about justice for the victims here. And for Madeline Soto, and her mom, we haven't heard a peep from her yet. Jenifer Soto, since she gave those interviews, it's radio silence. We don't know if she lawyered up. We don't know what's going on with her. But the bottom line is people want to get answers to questions, right? And we don't have those answers. We don't have those answers as it stands right now. And that's what's making everybody crazy is that, there's so many cases that start coming up after this. And, we don't forget about these things. So when I saw that this defendant was going to be brought into court for his first, court appearance, and I don't even know if he's going to show up. I mean, he could maybe if he waived his arraignment. Ed, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they buried him in charges. Okay, I've never seen so many charges on one person. So maybe they're trying to get him to plea. I don't think he's going to show up either. I think he's lawyered up now, and so he may not show up, and they're trying to work out a deal.
Yeah. Let's take a listen to what JB Buno, our good friend, I'm watching the feed live, but let's just take a look at what he opened his show up with just moments ago. Probably about 20 minutes ago, he went on the air.
Top stories, breaking news, interactive coverage in the palm of your hand. This is Stream Center Live. Here's JB Buno.
Been a long time since we've been live this early in the morning. We're used to being live later, lunchtime, noon. My goodness, welcome into the Stream Center, folks. JB here with you. 8:37 is the time. Shout out to our audience joining us on WFLA.com, WFLA's app.
Last live stream that we did, Ed, was the body cam footage of this sheriff walking Stephan Stearns into the Osceola County jail coming from Orange County. And it's just funny that JB opened the show with that footage. It's some of the last footage that we saw of Stephan Stearns because he was a coward on his arraignment. He waived his arraignment through his attorney. I think we did get a chance to see him by Zoom, Ed. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we saw him with his head down with a bunch of prisoners in the arraignment court, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And shout out to everybody in the live chat. Let's listen to how JB opens his show. I'm just curious to hear what he had to say in the beginning. Yes, he's definitely a coward. I just saw that in the live chat. Here's Just Joe saying he's a coward. Not only is he a coward, he's a child rapist. And that's some of the most heinous. I mean, look, Ed, you and I could talk about all the perps that we've came into contact with during our 20 plus years in the NYPD. But some of the worst are the people who prey on our children, our elderly, and some of the handicapped folks. These are some of the worst of the worst, right, Ed?
Yeah, I'm in Kuala Lumpur right now, right? And over in here in Southeast Asia, they have child trafficking issues like you would not believe. In fact, I went to dinner tonight with a couple of child trafficking police officers investigating these terrible, horrific crimes involving pedophilia and child trafficking. It's unbelievable in this part of the world, right? You're talking, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. And, it's crazy how many Americans come over here and commit crazy crimes with these children. But thank God now we have new laws now that allow us to prosecute these animals back in the United States for crimes they commit here in these foreign countries.
Yeah. And that's a great thing, you know, working with our partners outside of the United States, our international partners, bringing people like this to justice that commit these crimes, not only just at home, but abroad. Thank you to Dr. Ed Moskowitz. That's Julie. She sent in a $20 super chat, and she says, thank you, Ed Wallace and Dutyron. Thank you for the coverage. You're welcome.
Love you, Judy.
Yeah, Julie, we love you.
Love you, Julie.
Michael Joseph Murray, a member for 6 months, says, thank you for covering this first arraignment. I'm keeping a close eye on it, Mike. Good morning from Mac Randall Jr., member for 10 months. Thank you for being here. And thank you to our live interactive audience. Let's go back to JB and hear what he had to say. I want to hear how he opened.
App. And then, of course, YouTube Live, saying hello to Nesmira, Cynthia.
No, but he'll be in court.
And up, of course, by Garrett. What can people find over there, Garrett?
Good morning, JB. So we have all of the latest information, basically a rundown of what we know. As we mentioned, Stephan Stearns, the prime suspect in the death and disappearance, but has yet to be charged with her homicide, murder, whatever the case might be, whatever the charges might be forthcoming. Who knows? But he'll be in court today, and that is on related charges, about 60 charges of child sex crimes. The Kissimmee police said that they discovered disturbing images in video on his phone that led to these charges that included charges of sexual battery of a child, lewd and lascivious molestation, and possession of child sexual abuse material. Now, sexual battery of a child is a capital felony, so this, if goes to trial and if Stearns is...
And if I know our partners, Ed, in the great state of Florida, they're going to go for that top charge, the capital charge. They're going to go for the throat here at this guy because...
Absolutely.
Yeah, the tremendous amount of evidence that they extracted from his electronic devices, cell phone. We don't know if it was an iPad or computer, laptop, desktop. They do it all, Ed. And, you know, as we wait for Stephan Stearns to be brought into court live, which we will show you guys, we will cover that live footage of him being brought into court. It's a pre-trial hearing. So I'm not sure if we're going to hear anything from him. We should probably hear a lot from his attorney. But Ed, as a crime scene investigator, when they do these forensic extractions of all of the electronic device, could you just walk the audience through how meticulous that is and how they go about that and what brought them to all these charges looking at his electronic devices, Ed?
So even though he tried to do a factory reset, he tried to get rid of the evidence, but he couldn't do it. Even though you delete things, it's never really deleted. It's still there. So our forensic electronic experts, our forensic computer experts and digital experts can extract all this information. So basically what they do is they clone the hard drive and they start scanning the hard drive and they find the bits and pieces of what was deleted and they put it back together and they can see the actual images of what was attempted to be deleted. And in this case, he attempted to delete all the sexual photographs that he took with a minor from the age 11 on. So they got him dead to rights on his own phone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what's good about this. And then people are, you know, again, the confusion comes in, Ed, where why hasn't he been charged with the murder, and why hasn't anybody been charged with the murder? Let's take a listen into JB. I'm not sure what's going on.
So quick that, I mean, I thought the chances of us actually going to trial in May had to have been 1%. I mean, that's just.
I happen to agree with him. I don't see how, Ed, they could just go to trial that quickly. But however, on the other side of this coin of what JB is saying here is they may have enough where they've already had the 2-month period to share all that digital evidence and all of the video evidence of him going to the dumpster and dumping her school-issued laptop or tablet and then dumping her backpack in that garbage dumpster at their home residence. And coincidentally, that area, that location where they lived at, gated community, cameras at the dumpster. We saw the pole with the camera facing straight down at that dumpster. So providing those cameras have good quality. And nowadays, in these newer developments, they're buying the 3 and 4 megapixel cameras, the surveillance cameras where you can zoom in. I have them at my office. We have like 10 megapixel cameras, the surveillance. But anything over 4 or 5 megapixels, you could do a pretty good zoom in and get. That's where people don't understand. Like, if you have bad surveillance and it's grainy, you can't present that to a jury unless you can really, really see the person. Ed, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, that's true. The more megapixels you have, the better the quality of the images that you can present. But here's the problem here. We're waiting on the medical examiner and the cause and manner of death. Okay. Yeah, they have him dumping her stuff in a dumpster. They have images of her, they believe, in his car at that time, and they believe she's dead. Now we have to prove that he killed her. That's the sticking problem.
Right.
Okay. So now we have to dot our I's and cross our T's with that and get that information in the grand jury. And we have to get the cause and manner of death here. That's critical. Okay. Right. To understanding how she died, and then whether we can then attach her death to him committing it.
Right. Right. And that's important. And people don't realize that I'm sorry that I'm being repetitive, but he's on ice. He is not going to get bail. He is not going anywhere. So that gives advantage investigators, advantage the district attorney's investigators, advantage the prosecutor, and all of the above folks. So they have all the time in the world to get everything that they need to seal the deal on all of these charges. There's no rush to charge him with murder. And as a regular person, we scratch our head. I see a lot of people in the comments. Why is there no autopsy results? Why is he not charged? And that's fair. That's fair. Let's just see what this is.
A delay in the justice for Madeline Soto as the trial for the suspect, Stephan Stearns, has been rescheduled for August. He does not appear in court this morning in Central Florida. We have the latest details right here on WFLA.com. JB and Garrett here with you as we break down again what we have just found out from the Osceola County Court online portal. Stephan Stearns, who faces 60 charges in connection with the Madeline Soto case, but not murder charges, was going to appear in court this morning, his first appearance in court on those charges in a pretrial hearing. We have been told, of course, by our sister station in Central Florida that he did not appear, that it was a very brief meeting, but the online court portal, Garrett, tells us that this is now something that's going to be occurring this summer. The exact dates are pretrial hearing on July 10th, and then the actual jury trial August 19th, 2024 at 9:00 a.m. in front of Judge Keith Karsten.
Yeah, that's a full 3 months after the original jury trial, which was set for May 13th. As we mentioned previously, Stearns is facing 60 charges. Those are related to child sex crimes involving Madeline Soto, including charges that are sexual battery of a child.
I want to just hear if they say why he didn't appear.
Material. Those types of charges are a capital felony, meaning that Stearns, if found guilty, could be facing life in prison or the death penalty.
Meanwhile, on social media, a lot of questions being asked as to when exactly charges will be filed pertaining to Madeline's death, pertaining to the homicide investigation that is in the hands of the Kissimmee Police Department. We reached out to the Kissimmee Police Department a couple weeks ago. They say that they are diligently investigating, as of course people await updates. If we have any more updates on this story, we'll let you know about it right here on WFLA.com.
Ed, not surprising, right?
Right. You would think by now they have the toxicology back.
Right.
Okay. And they have the cause and manner of death, although it's not going to be made public because of Florida law, being that she's a minor and it's considered domestic violence.
Just amazing that, look, the public doesn't need the inner details of this case. The prosecutor needs it. The defense needs to see it. We will get to that. And now they're looking at August 19th as a potential trial date, 7/10, July 10th of 2024, pre-trial hearing. They marked today's hearing as a pre-trial hearing. So I don't even know if they just didn't, because JB said he was going to have the actual live stream of this court appearance. he didn't even play it. I just scanned through the whole WFLA live stream, and I did not see anything as it pertains to a live court feed, because he said that he was going to actually show a live court feed, but I guess because Stephan Stearns was a no-show, they just didn't even share that live feed. Let's just see. He's taking some questions.
How can we get this done to protect the children from these horrific acts of violence against innocent children?
Good question by Lorraine.
So I don't think that there's any law in the land that will ever just eliminate evil from this planet.
You got to agree, right, Ed?
Will always
100%.
Will always
laws are made to be broke.
It's about preventing these heinous acts as much as possible. What kind of laws can be introduced? Is there a law that would have protected little Madeline Soto? That's, I think, part of a larger conversation, and perhaps one with lawmakers or with lawyers to be able to have a conversation with them. And
let's stop it there, Ed, because I think you and I can expand on that. There is no laws, and no matter what, that can protect you. Listen, you know how many females I've responded to, lifeless, dead females in their apartment with order of protections in their back pocket or on their person or in their purse or in their house. And that does not save you from an act of violence. So it doesn't matter, Ed. And I know you're just waiting to get on and talk about this, but you and I both.
It's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper from a court. A judge ordered. It doesn't stop people from hurting other people. All right. This is a societal issue. Okay. We have to understand that we have all these laws say homicide's illegal, rape is illegal. All these different crimes are illegal. But does that stop people from doing them? You can have all the laws on the books that you want. It's not going to stop people from committing crimes.
And as you say at the end of every one of our shows, stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your six. Like that,
watch your six.
That comes right into play, not just for law enforcement. It comes into play for everybody. Ed's not saying that for us, for just cops and retired cops. He's saying that for all of us. And you have to stay safe. That's by being prepared. And in the next statement, stay safe, stay prepared. That means be aware of your surroundings. The only person that could have, that could prevent a crime is yourself. And you have to educate your children. You have to educate people. Go ahead, Ed.
You are the first responder. You are your own first responder. It is your duty to protect yourself, because when you need help, law enforcement is minutes or hours away to getting to you for help. So you have to protect yourself. You have to know how to situational awareness. You need to know what your surroundings are happening there, and you need to know if you're in danger, and you need to get yourself out of danger, okay? And be prepared to deal with danger, all right? Because, listen, criminals don't follow the law, okay? Right. If we all followed the law, there wouldn't be a need for law enforcement.
Yeah, amen to that, brother. And I've said that so many different times. People are citing some other cases. Cheese Mary says, like the other case, Audrey Cunningham. Not once did he show up during the trial. Too many freedoms for these criminals. Absolutely, absolutely. Pete Pranzo, Lieutenant Pete Pranzo, Harlem Raiders, and Rochelle, thank you for being channel members and moderators and great friends. And a retired NYPD lieutenant, he said, on guard 24/7. And that's coming from the Lieutenant Pete Pranzo.
Lieutenant Pete, keep your head on a swivel, folks. You need to know where you are and what's going on around you at all times.
Right. Simi Sharp says, oh my God, Ron, I'm a domestic violence survivor and I'm lucky to be here. And the orders didn't help me. I had to go from Pennsylvania to North Dakota to save myself. Simi Sharp, we send strength, prayers, and positive vibes as always to you. And, you are part of this community. If you need support or communication with any one of us, we're just a reach away from, reach out to us on social media. We'll be happy to engage with you. Miss Gonzalez says, hey, hello, Ron and Ed. So nice to see you again from my off-grid shed in far north Melbourne, Australia.
Good day.
Good day. I immediately went into my cheesy Australian accent there, Ed. Did you catch on to that?
Yes,
said-
I did. And I was in Melbourne. I loved it. I'm so sorry, though, for the tragedy that have occurred in 2 separate incidents there.
Yeah. Say, look into the chat real quick. Cynthia Gaines says, good morning, Ron and Ed. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. Just Joe says that's because the punishment needs to be tougher. No matter what, even with the death penalty in Florida, these crimes still continue to happen. He's standing possible capital murder charges here, Ed. So go ahead.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, of all the states in the United States, Florida is the worst place for this guy to be because, they're second to none in their prosecution on these types of cases.
Yeah, he's going to get fried there big time. So I wanted to go here. Vicky V says, you are right, Ed. People are listening. We need to be our first line of defense. And that's a fact. There's no way of getting around it.
100%.
Look at this poll JB put up, Ed, and I wanted to go to my audience here and, see what you would have answered in this poll. Why do you think Stephan Stearns hasn't been charged in the Madeline Soto death? And the choices were awaiting autopsy. 43% of his audience said 43% said they're awaiting an autopsy report. Case complications, 18%. Lack of resources, 2%. Insufficient evidence, 12%. And others, please comment, 25%. Ed, we all value and look to you for reason. What would be your response to this poll if you were in the audience voting, Ed?
Well, I'm 100% on board with awaiting autopsy results, but you would think by now they have that, okay? And they have at least the preliminary autopsy results, but the toxicology can take up to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how busy the toxicology lab is. But I would think by now they have a preliminary cause and manner of death, okay? But now they may have that. But do they have the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to charge this person? A prosecutor is not going to take the case forward if they don't believe they can win the case in court, okay, right, for the death. Okay, so, they're waiting for more definitive probable cause, and they want to be comfortable that if they present this to a jury at a trial, they're going to win.
Correct. And we have some things that get in the way. Madeline Soto is a minor, right? So there's some laws in regards to releasing information as it pertains to her. But the fact of the matter is the lack of resources, I would not even vote on that. Like, that's out because the district attorney, as you said, Ed, is in charge of bringing forth these charges. The police and the investigators that are on this case, they gather up their evidence and they present it to the district attorneys that are charging this case. And they say, yes or no, we got enough, we're going to go forward, as you just said, Ed. So it's not a lack of resources, it's not case complications, and it's not insufficient evidence. If I was voting in this, I would check other, and then I would make a stipulation in that other, it says, please comment, autopsy report, and waiting for them to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. In other words, there may be some snafu in getting to the bottom of Stephan Stearns. This is exactly how he murdered her. So that's the thing.
It's not just Stephan Stearns, okay? I mean, they have to look at the mother, okay? They have to see what her involvement in this is. Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of dots and a lot of I's that need to be dotted, a lot of T's that need to be crossed. And, they're working in the background, and we as in the public, we don't know exactly all that they're doing, but rest assured, they are working this case. Okay. And they're going to get to a definitive answer on who did what and when.
Look at how ironic for what you just said, your response back to your expansion on what our conversation is. Here in this live, I went right to live. It says, Chantel says, hey, JB, what about Madeline's mother, Jenifer? Jenifer, do you think she knew what was going on? And you just now are talking about, they have to look at everybody. They have to look at her. What was her involvement and so forth? So, maybe, we could be looking at a bombshell here. There's no statute of limitations when it comes to murder, right, Ed? So,
yeah, and rest assured, folks, these people, the law enforcement agencies involved and the detectives involved are not just sitting on their hands. They are working this case. They're trying to figure out exactly who did what. They want the who, what, when, and where of this case. They're dotting their I's, they're crossing their T's. And then when they finally have everything set, they go to the grand jury to get the indictment for the homicide.
There you go. And Terry says, Mom at the start gave incorrect details. Was she involved? Did she help cover up? Was there a conspiracy here to commit this murder? Was Stephan Stern the actual murderer and Madeline Soto's mom, Jenifer, helped to cover it up, or vice versa? We don't know. But what we do know is these 62 counts of sexual battery, child under 12, 18, lewd and lascivious molestation, and the unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual child performance. That's on Stephan Stern's. There's no mention in those documents about Jenifer Soto. So, maybe, just maybe, and we're not saying this is for sure, but maybe we could be seeing somewhere down the line, and it could be, look, the pretrial is not until July. They pushed that back for a reason, Ed. Now, I'm just thinking a little bit outside the box here. I could, be completely wrong with this, but maybe they needed more time to fully investigate and maybe they are going and branching into looking at Jenifer Soto, and they needed that time to come, because between now and July and potentially August, they could drop that bomb. They could drop that bombshell.
100%. They got him dead to rights on all these child sex molestation charges. All right, he's not getting out from underneath this. Okay, yeah. Like I said, and now they're looking at, they should be looking at the mom and seeing what her involvement is and whether they can clear her of any wrongdoing or whether she participated in some way, shape, or form. Okay, as I said earlier, maybe they're trying to work a deal with him to plead to lesser charges so that he gets the death penalty off the case, off the table, and then confesses to the homicide.
He could be, as you just alluded to, Ed, turning on Jenifer Soto and giving them information and cooperating. There could have been some type of deal brokered in between this pretrial hearing, which was supposed to be today at 9:00. Stephan Stern could have said, hey, just as you alluded to here again, Ed, he could have just turned to them and said, hey, I have information. I decided I want to cooperate. And that could have happened just this morning or leading up to this morning. And that could be why this thing got pushed to July as a pretrial and August for tentative trial date. Dr. Ed Moskowitz and Julie, thank you, Julie, for the super chat. May Dr. Ed continue to rest in peace, and happy Passover to you and your family and extended family. Ella Blue, member for 3 months, she says, thank you guys for sharing your passion and expertise.
Thank you for supporting us.
Yes, and there's our good friend in Wyoming, Jeff, coming in with a super chat and says, the movie Sound of Freedom. The movie Sound of Freedom.
Yes, 100%. Jeff, how you feeling, Jeff? I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I talk with him regularly. I think he's back to almost 100% through the power of prayer and his hard work with physical therapy and rehab. Charisma, thank you for the $2 super sticker. We appreciate you. Lisa, a member for 2 months, she says, Dutyron and Ed, thank you for all you do with the U.S. flag. Much appreciated. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being a member. All right, let's go to the audience, Ed. Ed, Dutyron, to get your questions highlighted. Let's listen to what JB's saying now.
Even Madeline Soto's father sounds as if he's in the dark and trying to get answers, and trying to understand how and why this occurred. He did an on-camera interview.
This is a mug from Jeff, by the way.
YouTube Live.
Jeff Litwell.
Let's go back to some of the comments. We'll go for another 10, 15 minutes, folks, before we wrap up our live stream. Again, if you're just joining us, no courtroom camera feed. Stephan Stearns did not appear in Osceola County Court, as he was somewhat expected to do this morning for a pretrial hearing. Now, it's only natural for me to wonder, did he not appear because this was rescheduled before he even got out of, had the opportunity to leave his cell this morning?
Maybe his team knew
Everything we just talked about.
Maybe they communicated to him, like, say, hey, look, this has been, we're moving this back. It's being rescheduled. No point to have the hearing. And that could have all happened extremely quickly this morning. But it was updated in the online court portal. So that's
Look
where
at
we
what
are
Rebecca
now.
says,
Some
Ed.
questions from folks about this story while we've got a audience here on YouTube Live.
We covered it. We covered that, Rebecca. Go and watch the replay.
Yeah. I wonder how much crap that deputy took for that video.
I have to imagine.
It's
some.
I can't, guys, I can only spotlight comments with a hashtag.
All right, so here's I'm just lowering JB in the background because he's just going to his questions and comments. Actually, I'm gonna mute him, but we'll let it play in the background. So Just Joe says, Ron, can't the courts make him go to court?
Well, here's the thing, Just Joe. If the prosecutor is on board with what's going on, I mean, there's behind the scenes, there's work going on here, and the prosecutor and the defense team may be coming to some agreement about certain things, and so they agreed to maybe delay and push this off because they're getting close to a plea bargain.
There you go, and that's a potential. That's not we're speculating a little bit here because we don't have a bird's eye view into what's happening behind the scenes, but we're just trying to give you guys potentials of what could be happening. Jenifer Schultz says, I hope he burns in hell, and the mom too. I believe she was involved in all of it. She didn't even cry and show any emotions, or a mom who lost her child should. Oh my God, I would be screaming in heartache to find my child. And you know what? Listen, Jenifer, your feelings are echoed by many, but again, mom's not charged with anything, but we do look and we say, some of the things, I think all of the things that she did is kind of odd and off-putting and kind of not what we would do, but everybody reacts differently in different situations, right? Question, why does he even have a choice to not go to face the judge? And he did it with his arraignment. And we believe, I looked that up, in the state of Florida, you have the choice to waive your appearance at an arraignment, because at an arraignment, they're just officially charging you and telling you what the charges are brought forth to you. It's not even, it's not a grand jury. It's not where, and look, we saw Adam Montgomery, right? Adam Montgomery didn't show up for his entire trial, but now he's being forced. That's the father of Harmony Montgomery, the monster of Harmony Montgomery. He's now being court ordered to show up for his sentencing. He now has to go. But Ed, as you know, he can play sick on that day, and they can't force him to go to that sentencing if he starts inducing throw up and saying that he's sick. Let's talk about that. That we could see that with Adam Montgomery, right?
Well, he can play those games, okay, and by law at that point they can't force him to go if he is in fact vomiting and it's sick, but also by law he's supposed to show up for that, okay, absent the circumstances you just mentioned. If he is, he can pretend to be going sick, being sick. Well, then they take him to a doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, he's fine." Boom, he's on a bus heading to the court.
Right. Yeah. So Story says appearance is required for an arraignment. Well, not in Florida, because he did not appear for his arraignment. He waived it. He waived his appearance in court, and that's a fact. So I'm trying to look at the chats. Again, Adam Montgomery, that he was being court ordered to show up for his sentencing. He did not show up not one day. Although at his gun charge sentence, he made a plea before the court of that very same judge. He said to the judge, promise me you're not going to hold this against me. I intend to prove my innocence, that I did not murder my daughter, Harmony Montgomery, and he never showed up. He's a coward. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Finn. Good timing. He is a coward. But as people are saying, pretrial hearings are often reset by the defense as many times as possible. But the courts and the media were notified that he would be appearing. So I don't know if his defense notified the media or it was the prosecution. I don't know how that notification went, but the JB and all of the affiliates had an inside live court feed today.
Waiting for this.
Right, in Osceola County. I could go back to this and you could hear JB say on his live stream that we have an inside court feed and we're going to bring it to you live. So something happened that was unplanned. Let's listen to it if he's saying anything updated wise.
Trust is a very it's so unbelievably consequential, right? Well, you can trust somebody and they can open up an entire world for you through a trusting relationship, or it can also be your downfall where you trust somebody that ends up being really responsible for such pain and suffering in your life. Trust is huge. Really,
and I got to say, this question that he highlighted by Dreamcatcher is a very good one. I think most parents are thinking this question out loud. As a woman who can't have children, cases like this makes me so angry. Putting men and their needs before your child. You never know anyone fully, and he seemed to be alone and had access to Maddie a lot, and that's the truth.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, and it also talks about the vulnerability of these women and their low self-esteem that that causes them to be attracted to people like this.
It's unfortunate. And listen, we're not saying that all women have low self-esteem. Obviously, listen, I want to put that out there. In this case, it appears that Jenifer Soto gave complete and total access and trust in her boyfriend, in her live-in, Stephan Stearns, and he ultimately looks like took the life of her child. So you have to look at this stuff and say to yourself, we need to learn from this. Folks that are out there, maybe this is an eye-opener to some people who are currently in relationships with bad guys like this, or people who are not acting proper, not doing things, or not noticing some of the red flags and so forth.
A mother's primary responsibility is the protection of her child. Correct. Okay. All right. All else is inconsequential, right? Whether you have a man in your life or you don't have a man in your life is inconsequential. Your job as a parent, whether you're a father or a mother, in this case, a single mother, is the protection of your child. And this child was from another father, not this boyfriend. Okay. And so all else falls to the side. When you're a parent, your life is not your own anymore. Your life is the protection of that child.
Amen to that. 100%. I wholeheartedly agree. And that goes for moms and dads, obviously, as we see here. Truth-seeking seeker human says unhealthy boundaries and lack of boundaries lead to parents allowing predators around children as well. Yeah, absolutely. Great comment right there. And Robbie, thank you for the super chat. Hello, Dutyron and Ed and Mods, all you wonderful guys and gals out there. Good to see you, Robbie from Australia. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of Aussie fans, and our hearts go out to Australia for some of the recent knife attacks that happened in that great country there, in their great land. So
and
sad.
The terrorist attack on the church.
Yes.
So sorry.
Terrible. So let's look again. Let's scan the chat. JB is still going on his live. I think he's just talking with his co-host there. Did Dad get? Here's one from Maria. She says, "Did Dad get a pass? He lives in another state." So they're talking about her biological father. We're really hearing limited information about him, but again, that's for the investigators. They look at everything. Everyone gets looked at. This entire family tree gets looked at. Aunts, uncles, grandmas, cousins, friends, acquaintances. Everybody gets looked at. Ed, you got a lot of fans. Obviously, we have a lot of fans, but Mel is saying, well said, Mr. Wallace.
Thank you, Mel.
Our good friend Florida Pete is in the chat. Joey Brooklyn, Becky B, Mickey Khan, thank you for being here. Amen, she says. Hashtag Ed, hashtag Dutyron, and we'll wrap it up in about 5-10 minutes because Ed, it's starting to get late for him. It's almost 10 o'clock his time, so he needs to.
I'm falling asleep.
Ed's starting to fall asleep, but Ed, I didn't want to even bother you. Listen, full disclaimer here. Let me put me and Ed back on. Full disclaimer. I did not even tell Ed I was doing this. So this goes to show you folks the dedication that he has, not just to me, but to this online community, to Crime Time with Dutyron. Ed Wallace was not notified that I was going live, period. So it just goes to show you how closely he pays attention to our YouTube community. And I want to thank you personally, Ed, for being here. That means so much, not just to me, but to our almost 300,000 subscribers that we have. We're approaching 300,000 subscribers, and 11,000 more, and we're at 300,000. And when we hit 300,000 subscribers, I have a massive giveaway that we're going to do, and we're going to do it in a grand way. We're going to shower people with gifts and so forth. I got a lot of things that I've been putting aside. I got my sling off, Ed. I don't know if you noticed, but
yeah, I noticed.
My arm is starting to get back. I got 6 PT sessions in. I felt great. I slept last night for the first time without that contraption on my shoulder. So things are looking good, and we should be getting back into business real quick.
Amen.
Yeah. So thank you, Ed. It's so much to be thankful here for, but like things that you don't realize that you do that really make all of our day when you show up like this unannounced. And I plan to just do this one solo. I'm off from work because of the Passover for the Jewish holiday, Jewish celebration and holiday of Passover. And then I'll be off next week, 2 days. I went back to work. So that's how much I'm progressing here. I actually went to my office on Monday. It was kind of weird. I sat there, but I told everyone, don't come near me. I still had the arm sling on, and everybody stayed away, but they had a little celebration for me for the birthday and to welcome me back. So it was nice. So yeah, a lot of love in the chat and a lot of great things. We're going to end this live stream now. I want to let Ed go, but listen, I'm going to put us both back on. This case is one that we're going to follow closely. And Chief Betty Holland from the Kissimmee Police Department, her and her investigative staff and the district attorney's investigative staff are working hard every day, night and day on this case. Madeline Soto, we need to bring justice for her and her family, the ones who love her and the ones who care about her in the international community. That's all of us in the international community. I just saw my warehouse manager, Mark, in the chat. So he's off today and he's saying thank you. He's a channel member, paying channel member. So thank you, Mark, warehouse manager over at the office. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. But yeah, we want to see justice, and justice, sometimes the wheels of justice move fast and sometimes they move slow. And in this particular case, it's moving slow, Ed, but we're gonna get to that finish line, and we're gonna see this.
He's not going the monster is not going anywhere. They got him dead to rights on all the child abuse charges. Now they just, like I said, they're going to get him for the homicide charges rather. But they want to make sure they got it and nailed it down, so he's not going to be able to wiggle his way out of this.
Amen to that. And that's the thing, is that you only have one shot at this. There's
exactly.
Right, Ed? You got one shot to get this thing right, and if you freaking screw it up,
he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So the homicide charges will come when they have all the facts.
Amen. Amen, brother. Hey, I wanted to pull the chat just 2 seconds and then we'll go. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel that homicide charges are going to come before August when this trial kicks off. Put a 2 if you think they'll just charge him on these 62 counts of sexual battery and unlawful possession. So 1 if you feel that homicide will get tagged on to it, the murder of Madeline Soto. 2 if you think that this trial will kick off and that they will charge him separately and have a separate thing. Put a 2 in the chat. I'm going to vote a 1. I'm going to go right. I'm going to be bold and put a 1 in the chat. Ed, what would you put if you were in the chat voting?
I give a 1.
Yeah. So I think 1s are going to outweigh the 2s. There's a couple of 2s, and I respect the 2s. Here's 1 from Pudgy. Brandon says 2. Trish thinks 2. Homicide will be separate, says snooze. But I'm highlighting the 2s for a second. But if I went to the 1s, there's probably about, I don't know, 400 or 500 of the 1s that I saw come up in the chat. Hey, listen, for Ed Wallace and myself, we want to thank you for being here. If you can, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're new, if you're just stumbling across this in the algorithm, please consider subscribing. This is my co-host here, Ed Wallace. Myself, we're retired NYPD detectives. Ed is a crime scene expert. I'm a fugitive enforcement expert. I worked in fugitive enforcement. Ed was in the crime scene unit and worked in the medical examiner's office in his retirement in the DNA lab. And we're 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. We responded to the call on September 11th to attack on our great, great land. So thank you guys all for being here. Ed, I know you always have something to tell the troops before we get out of here, and I'll put you on full screen for that.
Well, folks, thank you for being here and supporting us. Thank you for being members of our true crime family. Please spread the word about our channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. And always, folks, remember, you stay safe, stay prepared, and always, always watch your 6.
Amen to that. And I want to say this to you guys. On behalf of Crime Time with Dutyron and Ed Wallace, I just bounced myself out. I want to just send strength, prayers, and positive vibes to all of the people in the affected area down in Florida where this horrific crime happened. Don't forget, there's a lot of kids and children that are horrified and that are traumatized by this. Family members, local folks, media, EMS, paramedics, everybody that was involved in this case. So we're sending them strength, prayers, and positive vibes, but most importantly to poor Madeline Soto. May she continue to rest in peace, and may we get justice for her and her family. So guys, good night and good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're watching. And thank you for joining Crime Time with Dutyron and Ed Wallace. Stand by for a message from the cop team, and thank you for being here. Peace, everybody.